Can anyone hear me?
Oh, very well.
Success.
Great success. You guys talking to me, or did I miss something?
No, it's you. And you sound great.
All right. Okay. Mic number 3 works with the wizard. All right. Did I interrupt anybody? I was muted and everything.
No, you're fine, man.
Cool.
We're bragging here.
Are you
solving world hunger?
Okay. Yeah. So let's get to whatever questions regarding the DAC that we can answer so far. We've got Taulant here, so he can also chime in here whenever there's anything regarding the front end that's technical. Dan's gone, but still should be good. What are the main issues right now?
So the first thing is summarize for us the status of how the whole thing should start, like what the allocation is, how you plan to start the DAC. Okay.
So let's see. We're going to be just using Bitshares X as the base blockchain. We were at first going to use Bitshares ME, so that was without the one without a market. It was basically just a regular blockchain with user-issued assets. Now we're going to be using the one that has BitUSD capability, because one of the big problems was how do you make non-traders and force them to be traders. So by having notes, by having a customer come in, put in his US dollar with whatever payment mechanism we'll have, there's volatility involved, like with everything. So the problem is having somebody put in $10 with his credit card or his mom's credit card, and then it becomes $7 over the period of the week, whereas he never even bought anything. So we need a way to have a market pegged asset that's being traded. That's where BitUSD comes in. So we would be launching Bitshares X with a slight modification. So that's pretty much it. Just for what the technology will be, we're just waiting for Bitshares X to be pretty much in its final stages. That will be launched, even though the modifications to make it more into a music DAC wouldn't be done yet. So it's kind of like a placeholder. People can still trade around their notes, get rid of it if they think we're retarded, or they buy more if they think we're great. So basically you'll have liquidity as soon as we can, and then the DAC will be modified from there. Now, as far as issuance goes, we're doing the 1-2 punch combo that Stan was recommending, which is basically, we're not going to pretend like we know the future. We're not going to pretend that we know how much funds we're going to need to build the whole thing. So we will have one of the modifications be the dilution mechanism. So if note holders / voters decide to vote for a delegate that says, all right, we're going to basically dilute the note to this amount for this or that project, then that'll be voted on, and that's pretty much it. So the actual DAC will be released with 35. So Genesis block will have 1.5 billion notes, so 25% less than Bitshares X had, and the tweak is that delegates will be able to inflate if note holders vote for that. Now, the split is 35% going to proto shares holders, 35% going to AGS holders, donators, whatever you want to call them. We have 20% going out to the pre-sale, and we have 10% going out to the foundation for additional funding. So at launch, 1.5 billion. We'll have a good supply. If the pre-sale goes well, we'll have a good amount of Bitcoin to spend instead of diluting shareholders directly. So we'll have basically a war chest we can use to pay for development, for any other tweaks the blockchain will need. Right now, AGS and PTS have funded the company previously known as Invictus Innovations. So when we tweak it for the exact music DAC, so once Bitshares X is in its final stages, the rest of the tweaks will be, we need funding for that exact, that purpose for sure. So Bitcoins are going for that reason. The other reason is mainly regulatory, the whatever the bit license is going to end up actually being. So attorney fees and regulation fees, and developing both front and back end. So that means the first site coming out, which would be Peertracks, that's the one we would be developing with BitSapphire. So BitSapphire are going to be the main expense for the DAC upfront. I mean, they're competing with lawyer fees, but yeah, it's basically BitSapphire will be working on Peertracks itself, the front end, and they're also doing the wallet, which will be included in the Peertracks website itself. So it's a web-based wallet. He can talk about that, but basically it can be used for any DAC coming out. We're going to be needing it definitely because we're going for the non-traders. We don't want, not that we don't want, but we're not focused on crypto world or a trader or Wall Street guys. We want anybody that normally would have downloaded Shazam. That's our market basically. Anybody that listens to music, whether they care or not that it's a cryptocurrency. All they know is that bands have been using it for some odd reason. That reason is probably because they can create their own user issued assets, and they don't have the Visa, PayPal, and MasterCard fees associated to it, or the iTunes cut they take. So this is me ranting, by the way. So please
keep going.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
perfect.
have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you're talking about the Notes DAC and Peertracks. Can you explain how they both will work? For example, one of the questions I asked was, will the DAC be independent of Peertracks, and Peertrack just be one shop on the chain? Or
yeah, for sure. This is Bitshares world, man. We can't get away with anything else than that. This basically the Bitshares Music blockchain is a blockchain not monopolized by anything really. So right off the bat, it's the shares are as distributed as we can. And at first, there's always a concentration of power. So, like for example, Bymaster was telling me the other day that he can hard fork anytime because he's really the main developer right now doing the project. Anybody can hard fork really. So most likely, people will follow Bymaster because so far his he's brought us here so far. So all right, he's got some good street cred. But yeah, so the blockchain itself is a blockchain, decentralized, and Peertracks, all it does is use that blockchain exactly like BitPay would be using Bitcoin, but BitPay doesn't own Bitcoin. So the way it works, the blockchain itself is the one who holds all the funds. It's the one who does all the trades. So whenever you want to buy a song for let's say let's just say 1 bit USD, you want to buy a song, well, those funds are going from this username to that wallet associated to that song, all right? Peertracks can just read like a blockchain explorer. It can read that, okay, this user, which also has an account on Peertracks or on his app or whatever, this user sent 99 cents or 1 bit USD to that address, so it gives you the right to download. It gives that user the access to that MP3, let's say. So Peertracks isn't holding any funds. It's not holding any artist funds. It's not holding any customer funds. It's only an explorer that knows who paid who and allows them to download or not.
Okay,
does that make sense?
Yeah, but at least one question then. The MP3s, you talk about MP3s now, so let's go with that for now. The download of MP3s, would a user be owner of that MP3 file disrespective where they get it? So could they download it from another site then? So would that be a social contract that even the storage or the ownership of the files is shared among all the people participating on the network?
Okay, so the DAC itself is not, at least the MVP, it's not going to be holding the data or bandwidth. It's not like storage or anything like that. The songs themselves would be on a centralized server. Whether the artist is selling from Peertracks, then the songs would be hosted on Peertracks. If he's selling from an app that might come out, or his own site that connects to the Bitshares Music blockchain, he can do that. He can host his own music. Now, as far as Peertracks is concerned, we would have the similar policies to say SoundCloud, where the owner himself, you have to own the rights to the music and able to upload it. If ever you're Johnny whatever stick and you're trying to sell Britney Spears music, then you can be flagged, you can be reported, and Peertracks can just remove you from their site. But there's no controls for the Bitshares Music blockchain itself. The Bitshares Music blockchain is just an independent entity, not controlled by anyone. You can upload porn if you want. You can do whatever you want, really. The blockchain doesn't have a say. You guys know this. It's just cryptographic signatures. If you have the signature, good. So the actual...
I'm trying to discover what the words of the because they represent something, the notes. So I'm trying to picture what you see the word being. So if it's, for example, if it's ownership in a song, would that mean that the ownership
Okay, I see what you're going. So the notes, they have nothing to do with the artist's music. All right, because right now we're launching with 35% PTS, 35% AGS, blah blah blah. No artist has a say in that. So that wouldn't be good. We're not having revenue from artists go to note holders. The only time you'll get revenue from a specific artist is if you buy into his artist coin. So when Snoop Dogg puts up his music on Peertracks, Peertracks, which is using the Bitshares Music blockchain, you can buy a Snoop coin from Snoop Dogg by sending your BitUSD. So the blockchain will send your BitUSD to Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg will send his Snoop coin or Snoop coins to your wallet. Okay. Now, once that's done, you're now linked to Snoop Dogg via his Snoop coin for revenue from his music. If you don't buy artist coins, then you're just basically an owner of the DAC itself, not the musicians. So the DAC itself, this is a company independent from what the artists sell. You're only making a cut from, when there's any transactions being done. So any transaction fee, whether it's coin, Britney coin, Bieber coin, any note exchanges, so that's still just like Bitshares X. And when an artist's coin is launched, there's a fee to actually create user issued asset. When a name is registered, all those regular fees. But the difference here is BitUSD transfers for the Bitshares Music blockchain will have a higher fee. So BitUSD from person to person, since that's going to be done from, say, your wallet to Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice song, then the blockchain knows this is a song purchase, and it's taking a cut from song sales. We're not trying to take a big fee off little Jimmy and little Timmy exchanging Bieber coins in the schoolyard with their phones or their iPads. We don't want to do that. We just want to take a cut off of music sales itself. Of course, a way smaller cut than iTunes or any other site would do, but still basically paying off the DAC shareholders. So anybody that holds notes, you're getting a cut off song sales, but you're not tied in to a specific artist's music. So you could hold only notes and not do anything with them, but you'd be generating, revenue from all the transaction fees, all the song purchases. You're a shareholder in the big music label, I guess you could say. The DAC would be a music label or music distributor, I guess. Like a retail store. You're owning a cut of the retail store. Now, if you have all these notes and you want to spend them all for Bieber coin, because you discover this little kid, he's great, oh wow, he's got potential, you put all your wealth into Bieber coins. Now those coins are now what you hold, you're tied to the sale of only this guy. So only Justin Bieber. What he sells, it's going straight to the buyback mechanism, making Bieber coin go up in value.
So essentially, if I'm buying into Bieber coin, I'm taking a higher risk for a potential greater return. In the case that he goes on Ellen DeGeneres, and then he just becomes, what he became. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so take this, for example. This is one thing we're looking at. Say a reality show have you guys ever seen the UFC?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know when, let's say, John Jones comes out, you hear him walk out with a little song, and then at the bottom, you see his Twitter handle, John. Okay, well, any show that could be, it could be Jay Leno, Conan, Ellen DeGeneres, whatever. It can be American Idol. When somebody, let's say American Idol, all right. Whenever the artist, the band, the musician, the singer comes out, you could have his Peertracks or his Bitshares Music, his Titan name basically. So this guy would be Bieber64, all right? And people would know, okay, at the beginning of that show, all right, let's check it out. Holy shit, they're only 1 penny each, right? 1 bit US penny. USP, yeah. I don't know. It's only 1 bit USP per Bieber coin. Now, after the first show, you see the other ones are all dog shit, and this guy is insanely, he's a very talented kid. You could purchase that coin right there because that coin will be associated to the man. So if everybody else saw him on TV and want his coin, and I mean, that would sound like a Ponzi, but the point is, if he sells music from the DAC, meaning every time a bit USD goes into buying his new hit song, some of that money is going into buying up that coin and burning it. So if you had 1% of Bieber coin when you bought them at 1 penny and you have, like, let's say 1,000, now the fact that a lot of people bought them, the coin of course goes up, but the fact that there's also a non-human buying it up, every time there's a song sale, every time somebody puts a bit USD towards that MP3, it's buying up coin and burning it. So demand goes up, supply goes down, and you're ensuring that there's liquidity. If you ever want to sell that Bieber coin, you don't necessarily have to wait for a human to want it. You just have to have a human want his music. So you're not depending on any traders. You're just depending on guys who want to listen to this song and download it. So when you want to sell your Bieber coin, if Justin Bieber is selling MP3s or albums or ticket sales or whatever the site will end up incorporating, maybe merch and different things, but whenever somebody buys music, this is actually a buy order to cash you out. Does that make sense?
I think we have to keep it as simple as possible. So in the case Justin Bieber sells a lot of music, his music is bought with BitUSD, is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, and how do then the Bieber coin holders profit?
Okay, there's I should have probably started with that, shouldn't I? So the buyback mechanism itself is, okay, the analogy we've been using before is the baseball card. So it's just an analogy, but let me still explain it. The baseball card is just a limited edition token, you could say, that has some guy's picture and his biceps on it, holding a bat. There's a limited supply, and there's a market price. It is not stock. It is not equity in a company. It does not pay dividends at all. It's just a baseball card. Now, when the supply is huge, they're worth less. When the supply is tiny, they're worth more. Just basic economics. Now, if a certain card, like I have no idea what baseball names are, but let's say Johnny, because that sounds American. Johnny, the Babe Ruth, cool. Babe Ruth card. This guy's card gets destroyed in a fire. All right, so 80% of all supply has been destroyed in a fire. This is now a more valuable card because the supply went down. Okay? So,
yeah, the thing is, like, it has to, like any asset, has to have something it gets its value from initially, and then, like, if the supply shrinks, then it has value in addition. Otherwise,
yeah. Don't worry, that's not the end all to the analogy. It keeps on going. So just to explain the buyback mechanism itself. So the baseball card, okay, we understand if everybody wants it, it's worth a lot, and if most of them are destroyed, then each individual one will probably be worth a lot, be a collectible, blah, blah, blah. This is just one little basic supply and demand mechanism. So the artist coin is basically like a baseball card, where Bieber, there's a limited edition digital baseball card of Bieber, so an artist card, and supply and demand affect its price. Now, that's the basics. Where Peertracks comes in, or any other front-end website, however they want to distribute the funds, is that when 1 bit USD is used to purchase a song, Justin Bieber song, some of that income goes directly, this is the model so far, but some of that income goes into Justin Bieber's wallet, cashing him out like it was his salary. Okay, so if he logs into Peertracks, he sees that he has, say, 80 cents, bit USD cents. The other 20 cents, let's pretend there's no fees right now, the other 20 cents goes into the buyback mechanism, meaning it automatically buys the lowest ask on the books, on the order, on the exchange. So if a coin was selling for 1 bit USD, then there's a fifth of a coin that was just purchased and proof of burn. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So 80% goes to Justin Bieber. Like say 18% or something are burned in the form of Justin Bieber coin, and then 2% of that revenue goes to node holders.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. So whatever transaction fee that goes to node holders, correct? The main chunk, or whatever chunk the artist would decide, would go to the artist, and the rest goes to the coin itself, providing liquidity in that coin's market, because no humans need to want it, since buying a song equals a buy order by default without the person knowing he's doing that. All he knows is that some money is going to the artist, he might even not know anything, but money goes to the artist and money goes to the coin. So it reduces supply because it's burnt. Whatever's bought up by that mechanism doesn't go back to the artist. It's just burnt. Reducing supply, increasing demand, because that's not a human wanting a coin. That's just somebody wanting an MP3, but that translates to somebody wanting a coin. Does that make sense?
Ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
With respect to that, can the artists then continue issuing more of their coin, because it seems to me as these coins are burned, eventually there's, over time, over Johnny Cash's career, at the end of Johnny Cash's career, he's going to have maybe a very few coins.
Yeah, well, remember, they're infinitely divisible, so it's exactly like Bitshares X works right now. There's 2 billion, and they're being burnt up. But the percentage still stays 100%. It's always 100%, which ties us into Tony K's comment right here. So yeah, Bitshares X, it's the exact same thing. We're basing it on the same exact model, where instead of paying out dividends, which might get into legal trouble, we're only reducing supply. That's it. Everybody keeps, if you have just 1%, but a couple percent have been burnt, your percentages actually went up from 1% to 1.2%. Right? So without buying any more notes, any more Bitshares X, anything else, your percentage ownership of the DAC goes up and up. You can sell that 0.2% you just made and stay 1% shareholder and cash out with that mechanism, but it's not paying dividends per se. So Johnny Cash's career, if he starts off, say, with 1,000 coins, right, and they're burnt up, they're not buying up at a whole coin and burning it. They're buying as many coins as the buyback mechanism can afford. It's going to the lowest ask, and it's buying up as much as it can. So once there's only, let's say, 700 Johnny Cash coins left, if he still sells music, right? If there's still an interest in his music and his coin is not just dead, people still buy it and want it. The coin, nobody's going to sell that coin for a penny. If it's still generating, $3 of income every month, yeah, you wouldn't sell it off. You would wait.
So it's like the music industry having rights to songs for literally like thousands of years.
I guess you could say, if the blockchain's immortal, yeah. So the whole thing is that the artist himself, if he has the right to his music, he can put it up on our site, and we use the Bitshares Music blockchain to see if he was paid for that, since it's a public ledger. So we can see that, Tony K sent a bit USD or a 7-bit USD for Johnny Cash's album, and Peertracks, all we do is, all right, cool, yeah, we can see right here that you sent funds to this guy, so download away. You're allowed to, you have access to the file. That's all we're doing. We're just pointing to the Bitshares Music blockchain. A site in China could do the same thing or maybe a Latin American site or a podcast site, an audiobook site. Anybody can use the blockchain really to do the same exact process.
Cobb,
Yeah.
might I kind of tell the guys my aha moment when we kind of decided after 10 days of intense discussion that this is the right model? So we discussed several models. Cobb, we all had some interesting ideas, but at the end, Cobb's original idea with a few modifications, we think is the best. My aha moment was when I essentially understood that when you buy an artist coin, you are essentially betting that that artist is going to have a lot of sales in the future, and that's it. It's just betting on the artist becoming big, and by you betting on it, chance of the artist coming visible to the general population or to the people on the site becomes bigger. So it becomes like a completely distributed open market where people can find the most underground artists possible. And at the same time, by you betting on the right artist at the right time, you can make a lot of money. So anybody who has a really good sense of music or knows what's going on with the fandoms or the fan groups or whatever, or has access to marketing or other crazy stuff, can essentially make a lot of money. Furthermore, this is awesome for Peertracks because this is the viral loop Nightmaster was talking about for PayPal and others. Whereas if you bet on the platform on a specific artist, it is in your personal interest to use as much of your social media, online presence, of your maybe TV presence, of your radio presence, of whatever, to advertise the fact that you're on Peertracks as much as possible. Kind of the way Twitter became viral through CNN and all these crazy platforms. So that way Peertracks can become pretty big too. And it's really a viral loop, we think, which is why BitSapphire is with Cobb and his genius idea here.
Cool, yeah, based on Dan Larimer's genius, though. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, Dan's infrastructure genius and Cobb's music genius.
And the one
Cool,
thing
Cobb.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. At one of the Utah Bitcoin meetups, there was a movie contingent there that was interested in doing what you're talking about with music, with movies. You know, if you have Avatar, the next Avatar movie, and you have the scripts written up and you're looking for funding so you can get the developed. But they were seriously considering that. I wonder, have you thought of any ways of expanding this to include the movie industry, and or is anyone doing that?
Yeah, definitely. Really. So from from podcasts to audiobooks to music, that's the obvious connection. But anything digital. So if it's a movie file, it could be a profile for every single upcoming movie because they have different directors and all that. So people could just create a shared account on that. So the producer, the music used in there, this and that, however they split in the movie world right now, they can do that on just one sheet of paper, right? And issue out whatever, either it's a share of the coin or a salary, because every business has income and expense, and then the rest is profit. So you could put in all your expenses, meaning, all right, you want a weekly salary. If you look at the profile of an artist as a business, you have expenses, and you have income, and you have, after that, profit. So if you take it for the music industry, it could be you put in all the expenses that movie will have, whether it's a weekly salary, the sound guys, the cost, the contract for the guy who cleaned the sprinklers, all your expenses could be put in there, and your income will be however many movies you sell as far as downloads go, and you're left with your profit. So the profit is what's going to be buying back the coin for Avatar 6, the the coin itself. So that means when BitUSD, let's say the movie goes for 5 BitUSD, when those 5 BitUSD go in, they're paying off the salaries of all the expenses. All salaries and expenses are paid off, and then what's left over is profit that goes into the buyback mechanism. So we're just automating systems that would already work, only it's a couple click on a profile, and you still have the incentives for everybody to share around that link. Check this movie out, it's great. It could even be tied to a trailer. You see the trailer, and if you want to buy it, you just send the 5 BitUSD over. If it's good, you either share it from Netflix and make no cut off it, or you share it from whatever the name of that movie site would be, and now you make a cut from it. So with Peertracks and Bitshares Music, imagine the artist or the Bieber coin holder. He has the option of sharing the song he loves from a YouTube link, a SoundCloud link, or the link to Peertracks that will generate him revenue if anybody else shares it and buys it and all that. So not only does, it's great for the artist, it's great for the user, but we also see a very self-perpetuating mechanism for marketing. It's actual grassroots marketing. Just like Bitcoin has no marketing team, but everybody that holds a Bitcoin has one hell of an incentive for the rest of the world to adopt it. And we've seen that decentralized model work pretty well. So if you can imagine every single band who says, yo, buy everything you want on Peertracks because we make a bigger cut, they're going to be marketing Peertracks before iTunes, because in one case they make 99 cents, and the other they make 60 cents. So they're going to... Yep.
But it does mean that you need a very, very good website, and it needs to be able to handle quite a bit of load in waves.
Yeah, definitely. That's.
Do you have a financial model ready for that, to fund for that?
This is why we decided to go with the pre-sale and not just the dilution model, because if we do the pre-sale, then we have upfront capital to actually develop the website and not just launch a chain and start diluting the whatever out of it for the first few months. So yes, the website right now, the technology right now is based, it's Bitshares X is the main thing. That without Bitshares X we have nothing. We have to go the credit card method, and the actually centralized server, which could be in trouble. The thing is, with Peertracks, if ever anybody rules that we're doing something wrong, they can close us down, no problem, but the Bitshares Music blockchain is still out there as long as the delegates are passing transactions. So any site can pop up anywhere and just keep on selling music. They could just emulate the model.
Yeah. And that was what I was asking about. Like, will there be some kind of social contract that obligates other people selling the same songs, maybe for different countries or different jurisdictions, to honor the same ownerships? Or is that one bridge too far?
So say that again.
Not just the ownership of the coin, but also if you buy a song, for example. You talk like if you're also going to offer a download service. Is that a single download file and that's it? Or is it something like a permanent download, like a Steam or something that you...
Well, so far, it depends. Any website could offer different services. So the point is, if, say, a website pops up in Mexico, and they start selling different copyrighted material, then it's exactly like a corporation today would pop up in Mexico to sell illegal stuff. They can get in trouble. They can be subpoenaed. They can have a lawsuit, all that. The blockchain itself, it doesn't store music. So it's really up to the company itself. The front end is the one that has to make sure it has a mechanism to discover if that artist agrees to having that music sold, if he has the rights to do that, if he, there's a lot of things coming into play here. When you talk about streaming, there's the royalties. Any song has like 20 people. It's not just the writer. There's the lyrics, the writer, the producer, the makeup guy. I don't know. A lot of different people involved.
That's why I was asking the question, because that was I know why you would want to skip around this thing, but I think it's a very important aspect of this new concept. If buying songs is also part of the deal.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I could answer it as simply as possible is that it's up to the front end website or client to offer what it can. You will see child pornography sites pop up on the internet, but I mean, it's not going to be, Amazon's not selling, baby porn tapes. That doesn't happen. So there's probably going to be a way to go find some music from an app. Somebody has an app that just sells illegal stuff. That's probably going to happen. But as far as a mainstream website would be concerned, it would be to their advantage to not get sued and subpoenaed and all that. So the actual Peertracks or the Chinese website or whichever website you can think of, their role is to get some artists to sign up to their program and offer a way to say, yes, if somebody else is selling your song that you haven't given permission to, then we're just going to take it off of our website.
Well,
one question also is there maybe a way to have, let's say you're not the only company doing this, that maybe you make deals amongst yourselves, with other companies to honor the deals that they've made. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, I see. In that case, it would probably, let's see if I think it through. You would have that same artist coin, right? So that person would already. So let's say Rihanna, she has her Titan ID, right? So she has a unique Titan ID. There's no two Rihannas. There's one Rihanna. She's the one issued out the coins, the Rihanna coins. All the Rihanna coins are within her wallet. If she wants to sell through Peertracks, that's good. All we do is, we take a cut and we provide the download. That's our only service. The Bitshares Music blockchain is what does all the rest. Now, if she wants to go sell through the Chinese site, she can do so. Rihanna is still the Rihanna on the Titan, tied to the Titan name, and it would just be that now the person downloads it from the Chinese site. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing about DAX is it's supposed to be worldwide and not.
Yeah, exactly. Think about the apps. So, for example, you can have a Coinbase, which is in the States, right? That can be shut down any day. But things like multi-bit, there's different apps that can pop up. So Peertracks is like a stepping stone. We're trying to bring value to the Bitshares Music blockchain in a mainstream way and getting everybody to understand what the hell is going on here. Now, once, because
essentially, you're kind of showing them the use case.
Yeah, we're showing them why a blockchain is awesome. The fact that everybody will be used to trading around Bieber coins, Rihanna coins, Snoop coins, AC/DC coins. This will, whether it's done like that or not, it's a way to introduce the mainstream to the concept, just like Napster introduced P2P. So I had no idea what P2P was. All I knew is that when I typed Eminem, I had an Eminem song playing 20 minutes later, which was awesome, at the super lightning fast speed of like 3.75 Ks per second. But
now if you logged into the equivalency of that, you essentially could buy these coins, and when people bought the actual artist coins, they could use that they could even hold events and say the people who hold these coins can come to this event free, or they're VIPs.
Yeah, exactly. The token controlled access that they've been talking about recently. That's exactly it. You could have a club opened up with, all right, Skrillex is going to be here. Tickets are $9.95. But if you have 10 coins, you wouldn't even have to say, but you have to have 10 coins. If you have 10 coins, you might see on Skrillex's profile that the price is actually $7. There's different content could be uploaded for different coin holders. If you have 1 million coins, you might see, a camera with him in the shower for all we care. It's whatever the artist can think of. Like, all right, you have 1,000 coins. Here you go. Here's me taking a crap. This is Bono taking a crap. So it can be you have access to our concerts, you have access to our free merch, you have access to an autograph, hang out with the band. Whatever they can think of really is that's a limit, really. So, but to go back to the actual website, Peertracks is a stepping stone for introducing the masses to that. If any dev creates an app, a distributed app, not a centralized website, but just something out there, whether it's an Ethereum app or whatever, it could be a store like Open Bazaar. Okay, Open Bazaar could run with the Bitshares Music idea and do that on a distributed network. I don't know how fast mainstream adoption would go if there's not an introduction with a nice little friendly corporate side. But yeah, it's totally possible. If Peertracks is a dick, then you just use the blockchain with an app that does the exact same thing. Now you have an even more decentralized model. I mean, you're gonna have to figure out different ways to make sure, like, reduce, I guess, theft or people that aren't supposed to upload that content. But that once again can be done with reputation. And anyway, does that?
Yeah, there's one. I have one question that Tony K is telling me that RAG asked. Why not just have all of the music sales go to buying up and burning the artist coin?
Yeah, that was a good idea. We're still not even decided on that. That's what we originally wanted to do at first. The only thing is that we're trying to eliminate the fact that an artist has to do anything, because I didn't know that, but Eddie's the one who's in the, who signs artists all the time, and he's been telling me they're being constantly solicited for different websites. Hey, come to here, we'll sell your merch for free, you don't have to do anything. Or this other place, it's they all have a gimmick to sell. And I mean, if you don't know what Bitcoin is, as soon as Peertrack comes out, we look like a gimmicky site. Like, hey, make your own card, yay, and trade them around. It looks really, really bad if you don't know anything. If you don't know the ramifications of it, it looks very plain. So what we're trying to do is make it as simple as possible for the actual artist. There's artists that are in their 60s, some of them that are kids, some of them that are drug addicts. I mean, all we're trying to do is have it so that you can get liquidity without having to sell off anything. The point with the coin, if 100% of the purchase goes to the coin, it doesn't guarantee him liquidity. So, for example, if you are going to launch your next album, all right, so I'm Shania Twain, and I'm going to launch my next album in a week. You know what happens to your coin is that the value goes up immensely. Now, once you start selling, the value of your coin will still go up, but once the hype dies down, your coin might be back to where it was. Like, okay, we know she's not going to sell a new album for another 3 years because she normally pumps them out every 4 or whatever. Now, if she wants to cash out to redeem some of that wealth, she might actually cash out less than had she cashed out during the hype. So what we're trying to do at the same time is to make sure she has a salary. So she has a fixed rate salary. So if she sold a $1 song, she gets 80 cents, no matter what the market volatility does. So whether it goes up or down, nobody cares. She gets her 80 cents. She covers her costs. She can pay her expenses. She doesn't have to sell equity in order to pay back her expenses.
Well, do they require artist coins to post the music, or how does that work? Because Lulu's asking a really good question here. He's saying here the artist would have to speculate on the value of his or her coin, which would also be bad for the rest of us because they know the intimate details of the life. So
yeah, insider trading.
Yeah, so for instance, I'm insider trading on my own coin because, I come out with some leaked photo of myself, oiled up, naked walking the dog or something like that, and like, oh my God, look at this huge campaign. Everybody's looking for this guy. And, I've got the coins and I just start selling them. Like, it's kind of a joke, but it's actually, he makes a really good point.
Yeah, no, I see exactly what you're talking about. That's All right. So if I can sum up, our position so far is that we want a volatile-free payment mechanism for when a song is sold, without the artist requiring to sell off anything. He can be in the Bahamas. He can never really look at his account and just accumulate his fixed volatility-free BitUSD for the sales of his songs. Now, if he wants to play with his coins and sell off some equity, he can, but we don't want to have the artist depend on that. We're looking at it from a trader perspective, and yes, I would prefer it to go all to the coin, and then I just have control to my coin. Anybody that has a bit of trading experience prefers that, but we have to look at who we're marketing towards. They might not give a rat's ass about anything financial. All they want to do is, have a salary for the music they put out, and that salary has to be volatility free and as simple as I sold a CD, I got $20, hooray.
Regarding the lightweight client, and until you have the lightweight client, aren't the users of the system of Peertracks pretty much depending on Peertracks only as to protect their wealth?
Yeah, I would probably, in all likelihood, not build in a like Coinbase wallet where we hold the private keys. Both due to technical issues and due to legal issues, obviously. So the best case scenario is us having a lightweight client, whereas most likely the users would either on their phone or on their computer have something like a Dropbox icon somewhere sitting where every single transaction is just certified.
So the artist can decide on what percentage is burned.
Okay. So when an artist comes to the website, so remember the Bitshares Music blockchain allows for pretty much anything. The actual front end of it, which will be the spearhead, this is just a place for the artist he can register his name, he can upload his music, set his price, and start selling music. If he wants to issue a coin, he can. So he can issue his 10,000 Snoop coins. He can decide how many he wants to keep. And we will, on Peertracks, in the beginning at least, have a set rate that goes into that goes into the buyback. So we don't want to have, for example, one coin. We don't want one artist issuing 6 coins, the other are issuing 7,000 coins, one having only 1% going into the buyback mechanism and 99 cents going into his salary, and another one saying, I'm only taking 10 cents salary and the rest is going into the coin. At first, we just want to standardize it, but we don't have any solid numbers on that yet, what a correct percentage is, what the music industry will go for, because we have to pitch the idea also to the music labels. So in that case, it's good to have them choose, but in the other case, they also don't want to have anything to do as far as managing it. They just want to give us 1,000 artists and go ahead, create their accounts, do this, do that. So to come back, the blockchain will allow pretty much anything, but the front end websites will probably decide on a policy that's more one size fits all.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Might I add? The way I always look at the buyback percentage each artist sets, or we set for them at first, is pretty much distributed royalty. So instead of a label getting a 5% royalty on each and every song you sell, the royalty goes to your diehard fans and to your true believers and your fandoms who are the gospel, the people who go around and talk about you. So I think that's pretty awesome and incentivizes a lot. And it makes a lot more sense from that perspective for people to sell their music on Peertracks and let's say on iTunes, where there's no incentive for you to share anything. While on Peertracks, the more of your friends buy into it, the better you're off.
Yeah, agreed. Well, we can be pretty much certain that even the artist who has a really bad drug problem would be more than likely to be able to get money out of his mom for shares in his stuff, you know. So that could possibly uplift him, even though he's got a problem.
Wait, say that again.
It's just
If his mother buys up his shares, and even though he squanders all his free earnings on bitCocaine.
BitCocaine, is that an asset now?
Well, it will
Not
be
yet.
if you get MusicCoin running.
it will be.
It will be the #1 main currency in music.
Yeah, once they go platinum on Peertracks, you'll see that that go up in sales.
Sky high.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
right.
delegates start posting feeds.
All right. So, is there anything? I have to go in about 4 minutes. Is there anything we didn't answer that would be priority or?
So if I could just ask one question, it would be: does the Peertracks company or the Peertracks Foundation, I don't know, make any other revenue than through owning nodes?
Okay, so there's a couple models. There's first of all, it's owning notes, but we don't know yet how much that will actually cover, if it can cover the bandwidth exchange. Now, if not, if it lacks it, then we would just add a service fee, I guess, from any. So when somebody buys from Peertracks, there would be an extra fee taken out of the. So there would be the 80 cents going to the artist. There's a transaction fee on the network. There would be what goes to the buyback mechanism, and there might be another % going to Peertracks for the bandwidth, for example. But that might not be even necessary, because if the notes cover enough of those bandwidth fees, then we're great. Now, the other thing is traditional revenue model. So any website that has traffic can have monetization. So that's another way to just monetize it. They could, anything really, banners or advertisement or whatever.
Yeah. So advertisement, of course, would be something that would make sense for you. What I would encourage though would be, instead of having a service fee that would solely go to the Peertracks company, it would make more sense for me, in order to align the incentives, if you allocate more nodes to you personally, and to all the founders like Eddie and maybe Itnom or something, whoever are the founders of the Peertracks company. And this would make sure that the incentives of you guys and the incentives of the other node holders, like AGS and PTS holders and all those that buy into the pre-sale, that those incentives are aligned. And then if they are aligned and there's no service fee, then this solves a lot of problems, because the kind of the shareholders in the Peertrack or the Music DAC company, they cannot always check how the ratio is between the revenue from nodes and the revenues you would have from service fees. So
I agree.
So the transparency that would take out the obligation of the Music DAC shareholders to have an eye on that, kind of.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's plan A, really. Plan A is just to hope that the notes cover all the bandwidth costs. And if not, there might always be a way to have an artist just use our platform for exposure, but actually when the file is being downloaded, it's downloaded from his server. We could always point to his server. So that might reduce our costs there, and the notes might compensate enough for that. So yeah, plan A is not to have a fee. Plan A is the DAC to have a fee. And because if, for example, if Peertrack ends up having a fee and a competitor front-end website comes up and he has no fees, then, we're kind of, we got to compete. We have to stay in business. So the best would be the blockchain. The notes would amass enough revenue from just the notes themselves, from the transaction fees. So, all right, it's 5 on my time. I have to go. We can do that again for sure. If there's any other questions that we need to have answered in the next week. Is there anything else just before I have to go?
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right, excellent. All right, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you guys on the forum.
Okay, thanks. I suggest we make a follow-up thread on the forum, so everyone that has any questions that have not been answered can put them up there. Is that good?
Yeah. Can you go ahead and do that, and then
I will do it.
we could